Dr. Ezechukwu Nwokoma. Please, sir, you are welcome, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Well, the way I was introduced, like I'm taking the sermon. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to the leadership of this church. Just in the few minutes I've sat down here, I've taken a toll of what is happening in the church, and something caught me. First of all, I'm seeing a very youthful population here. And when I say youthful population, those that are really youths, and then the youths in the mind. So I'm actually very impressed. The second thing that caught me was the infection prevention measures are taking place here. I see someone going around with hand sanitizer, cleaning things, and I just been thinking while sitting down there and say, well, I think what this church is doing is trying to buttress that fact and also agree that religion and science are not quarreling. Because I think that's where we have missed it most of the time. If science didn't have any part to play in our life, Christ wouldn't have said, the physician is for the sick. It's only those that are sick that need the doctor. He mentioned it in the Bible. And when I begin to think around this, I begin to ask myself, why are we so fixated that we don't allow God to work through people in us? I like to tell people, for example, you can stay and pray for a miracle. But that miracle can actually, for your health, right? You have an ailment. You can continuously pray for a miracle. But that miracle can actually be visiting your healthcare facility. That miracle can actually be taking that medication. So what I'm basically here for, in the time I've been allotted, is to help us unravel some of those things we should do to keep us healthy. And while we were discussing about what to talk about, I looked at what is happening right now and understand that the incidence of kidney challenges is on the highs. That's why I said, first of all, I'm excited that it's a youthful population, because it's at this point that some of those challenges begin to build. When you're already in your 60s and 70s, you're already there, and then you can only just manage. But at this point, I think it's something that can be worked on. So going back to the scriptures, if there were no issues that had to do with the importance of relationship between medicine and religion, it wouldn't have come up severally in the Bible. And if Christ has always emphasized on that, then we should also begin to look at how do we integrate this in our thinking and our thoughts. So, while I was preparing for this, I was also thinking, how am I going to bring this out there so that people can understand how important it is to take their health very seriously? And I begin to see that a lot of things are actually going on, which ordinarily we didn't need to visit a healthcare facility or a medical doctor if you do those things yourself, if you take care of your health. The issues around medication for healthcare is on the rise. You all agree with me that most of the drugs we used to buy 3-4 years ago have actually tripled in prices. Why? Because some of the manufacturers are leaving the country due to one issue or the other. So you have it in hand. It's your duty right now to make sure that you take care of your health. I have a boss that always tells me that what he tells people right now is try not to get ill. Why are we saying that? Because both the availability of the medication, you are not sure of the quality because of people cutting corners. And when you get to the facilities, some of the healthcare workers that attempt to act somehow to you are not acting that way because of their will. They are suffering burnout. Why are they suffering burnout? Their colleagues have all jackpot, and there are very few of them attending to healthcare workers. Let me just shock you one more before I start my presentation. The global standard for a healthcare worker to a patient is 1 to 600. So each one medical doctor should attend to about 600 persons. That is the global ratio. In Nigeria, it's currently 1 to 10,000. It's currently 1 to 10,000. So I don't need to prove that to you because you all agree with me. You stay so long in the hospital before you get seen by a doctor. You have to go very early and then keep waiting and waiting and waiting before you're attended to. So that speaks so much to how well we can take care of our health. And by doing so, you're actually fulfilling the God's commandments. Your bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. So when we read our Bibles, let's read it with an open mind. Let's not fixate it only to what it seems in the literal term. But let's read wide to be able to understand how can this be applied to my health and how can this be applied to the work I do. I keep telling people, if we have our youths coming down, because this issue around kidney disease is now trickling down to those in the 20s and in the 30s. Ailments that used should be in the late 60s, 70s have now come down. Why? We are embracing the Western culture in so many ways. And we are doing so many things that we think is right, but it's actually harming us. So without wasting time, I will do my best within the time given to me to take us through what we can do to keep ourselves and our kidneys healthy. And some of the things I'm going to say are things that you might be surprised to hear. I said, oh, really? Is this really what's happening I have not taken care of? Okay. Next one, please. Next one. So this is what the structure of the kidney looks like. And if you look at it very well, you understand that they say it's a bean-shaped organ. Probably, and most times, the size of your clenched fist. So if you clench your fist, a little about that size. And what they do medically, basically, is to ensure that waste is filtered. So if you take your mind back to anyone that has a kidney disease, is someone that cannot excrete waste. That is why you see the legs are swollen and all that, because the waste that's meant to come through the body, all the waste pass through this kidney and are released from the bladder through your urethra. That's the basic thing that happens in the kidney function, the physiology. So all the blood, every single blood unit in your body passes through the kidney, is filtered, and then the waste products are moved out from the ureters down to urethra and out of the body. What does that mean? Anything that impedes this flow is harmful. It means that waste will continue to accumulate in the body. That is the dangerous thing about it. So anything that makes this waste not go out, it will accumulate in the body, and that is very risky for anybody. Next slide, please. So we've talked about this. Each kidney is about 4 or 5 inches long and roughly the size of your clenched fist. Next. So look at the major functions like we talked about. The bulk of it is waste excretion. Like I said, every single blood that comes through your system must pass through the kidney. And while it's passing through the kidney, it is filtered. Just like a sieve. When you pour anything inside, it is filtered and then it's removed. So when you are trying to, let's say, maybe you're preparing your pap and all that, just look at the kidney in that form. It's a sieve. You pour the pap water. Ordinarily looking at the pap water, you would think that there's nothing there. You just think it's just ordinary water. Until it passes through a sieve, it will now remove the waste and say, oh, this is not needed. The waste is now released through the urine that comes out, while the clean blood goes back into the system. That's exactly how it works. So Basically, the work is for excretion of waste. The next function is reabsorption of nutrients. So what we say that any good thing that is inside the blood there, the food you have eaten, the proteins that have been released and all that, once it passes through the kidney, it is reabsorbed back into the body. So the waste goes out, the nutrients are reabsorbed back into the body. The other one is maintain pH. It balances the acid and base nature of the body so that your body is not acidic. So let me just tell you this. When God was creating man, he had put every single thing that is needed in the body to keep you okay. You see all these things that people begin to sell medications and say alkaline water. I'm not against it. You drink alkaline water, it will keep you healthy. This one, that one. I'm not against it. I don't want to spoil their market. But the truth about it is that the body already has a system that balances it, that makes sure that your acid and base is equal. One is not above the other. It's already in the system. It's the kidney doing it. The other one is regulate blood pressure. Many people don't understand this. That the kidney has a very important role in regulation of blood pressure. So when the kidney begins to have issues, the first thing that begins to manifest is raised blood pressure, for which the highest reason for outpatient services in Nigeria is blood pressure. I'm honest. And the painful thing about that, it is not symptomatic. High blood pressure is not symptomatic. You will not know that it is hypertensive until there's crisis. Still reason why we need to check our body all the time, but I'll get to that shortly. Production of hormones. There are a couple of hormones that are produced in the kidney that helps to keep us alive. Vitamin D metabolism. The vitamin D that you see that helps you in formation of strong bones and all that also comes from the kidney. So ordinarily, you would think that the kidney's function is just excretion of waste, preservation of urine. It's doing much more. That will explain to you the reason why a lot of things go wrong once the kidney begins to shut down. Production of red blood cells. Do you believe that? It produces red blood cells. That's one of the primary functions of the kidney. Next slide. So let's just look at some of the statistics I have been talking about. So chronic kidney disease is a global problem that is increasing in prevalence. What we're saying that it's not our thing before. How many of our great-grandfathers had this issue? It's not our thing. In fact, they stuck to some of those things that were natural that kept them going. So it has never been our story. But it's now becoming an increasing prevalence with about 8% of all medical admissions and 42% of all renal admissions in Nigeria. It's increasing so much. You need to take time to go to a kidney center. You will see the number of people that are waiting kidney transplants or going through dialysis. It costs about 30,000 to 50,000 for a session of dialysis. What's dialysis? When a machine takes over the duty of this kidney. So that blood that is meant to come to the kidney, filtered, and return back to the body, a machine is now doing it. They plug it to your body, the blood will be coming out and moving to the machine. The machine will filter, the waste will go out, it will return back the blood to the system. That's what dialysis is all about. It costs about 30,000 to 50,000 per session of dialysis. And anyone that has chronic kidney disease must do that session 3 times in a week. So you want to agree with me now, that is the reason why continuation rate is very low. If your people start contributing money for you to do it, they do it for the first week, they do it for the second week, they do it for the third week, people start grumbling. Because they're spending about 150,000 thereabouts every week so that it will do the function the kidney is meant to do. That is the economic impact of kidney disease. And over 20 million Nigerians have some form of kidney disease. So if we claim that we're about 200,000, Nigeria is the only country that we only say about. It's only a population that is about. So when you travel, when you go for a global conference, everybody mentions we are 10 million, we are 5 million. Nigeria is about. So let's go with about. So if we are about 200,000, 200 million, it means that about 10% of the population, 10% of the population has some form of, 30 million, has some form of kidney disease. 10%. So what that means is, if you come to a general population, out of 10 people you are seeing, one person has some issues around that. That is very, very terrible. It's good for us to always look at these figures. But when I talk about figures in health, I like to tell people, these figures are human beings. Let's always remember, they are not numbers. They are human beings. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, they are our friends. So chronic kidney disease affects 10 to 15% of adults. Kidney failure is increasing, especially among those aged 25 to 50. It's very common around that point now. But you see that some of the attitudes and the habits that we imbibe are causing this to happen this way. So in Nigeria, the peak prevalence of this kidney disease is around the third and the fifth decade. That's between 30 and 50 years, around that time. But it's drawing down. We're seeing young people. Those of us that have visited social media, you see people begging for alms, GoFundMe, begging for money. There are young girls, young boys, younger people, most of them in universities, that are looking for alms because of the issue around kidney disease. And it's contributing short manpower and economic waste. Next slide. So we've looked at this. I said that it costs about 30,000 to 50,000 per session. And then kidney transplant is about 7 to 10 million. Then that's a very fair price. I think it's more expensive than that in most cases. And you have to go outside the country and all that. So we're looking at the gory picture. Because I don't think we should pass through this if we take some of the precautions that should be made. We said that high cost forces many people to abandon it because they cannot withstand that. Next slide. So other kidney diseases, even though we talk about chronic kidney disease, some other kidney diseases can be diabetic nephropathy. Those that are diabetic that don't follow their medication, the effect comes on the kidney. So it can come from diabetes, poorly managed diabetes, presence of kidney stones. So kidney stones can form when some crystals from the food we eat begin to find their way into the kidney and cannot easily be dissolved. Sometimes they are pushed out and they don't go out completely. They cause blockage of the flow of urine. They can lead to different forms of ailments. Kidney infections, renal failure, kidney hydronephrosis. I don't want to go deep into this. Kidney tumors and then nephrotic syndrome. There are numerous of them, but what worries us much is because of the prevalence of the chronic kidney disease that is increasing in Nigeria. So what are the causes? One of the main causes of kidney disease is poorly controlled hypertension and diabetes. I've talked about that. When people are already on a hypertensive management, it's important for them to regularly visit their physician for health access, because that will help the system. So what's the principle behind hypertension? Very simple. You are seeing, okay, let me just give a very, very clear example in next 30 seconds around that. How many of you have seen this hose, this pipe for water? This hose has this millimeter, right? If you compare the force with which water will pass through that hose and the force water will pass through a bigger hose like this, it's not the same, right? The one here will have higher force because it is passing through a smaller space, while the one bigger will pass freely, right? God has created our system to allow blood to flow freely. But certain things begin to narrow the space in our blood vessels, such that that same volume of blood in your system must still pass through that small space no matter what. So trying to pass through that small space increases its pressure. That's the commonest thing that causes it. It's a very simple logic. So the pressure is formed because the same volume of blood in your system is now forcing its way through a small or narrow channel. That is the physiology. How about the causes? Let me use salt as an example. Just one of the reasons. I don't want to go into that. Salt. If you keep salt outside for a while, what happens? It draws water into it. So let me just take salt as one of the causes of hypertension. Excessive salt intake. You take the salt. What happens? The salt is absorbed into the system, into your blood vessel. What will it do? It will draw water from neighboring surfaces into it. It has now increased the volume of blood that is meant to be inside that blood vessel and increasing the pressure. I'm just using salt only as an example. So if you know you can keep salt outside and it draws water, it's the same way it draws water into it inside the blood vessel. So this thing is going to cause excessive effort and pressure on the kidneys if not well managed. Smoking. Smoking has a lot of issues around many things. Obesity. Herbal and over-the-counter drug abuse. This is another one. A lot of people sell different agbo and all that. So most times when these things come to our discussions, those people are very wealthy. They are very wealthy. I tell people that someone that can do adverts every day on radio, they are very wealthy. So you can hardly defeat them in arguments. But we say, when some of these drugs are produced, some of them, to be sincere, might do the work. But the problem is you cannot know the level to which you must stop taking it. Every single drug is a poison. But the only thing that makes it easy for us to take is because you know the safety level and you know the dangerous level. If you take paracetamol beyond what you should take it, you have liver disease. As harmless as paracetamol is. That's why you are told to take 2-3 times daily, not more than that. But you cannot calculate this. So these herbal medications, what are they going to do? They will continuously produce sediments, waste materials that cannot be filtered by the kidney. So when the blood is being filtered in the kidney, when it gets to the kidney, those agbo and everything, it will remain there. It will continue forming there until it shuts down the kidney. Over-the-counter drug abuse. People now prescribe what they want. They can go and buy. Nigeria has not regulated possession of medication. Our ladies have so abused antibiotics that antibiotics is no more working. Cipro. Everybody knows how to take Cipro. Ciprotab. Give me Ciprotab for infection. So some of these medications have really weakened the system such that even when the real ailment that needs the medication comes, it won't work again. And where are all these things going? They're all going to the kidney. Untreated infections, kidney stones and urinary blockage, I've talked about that. Excessive alcohol intake. This one, we don't know how to handle it. Because once you want to say something, they will quote the Bible. Oh, what Paul told Timothy? Take small for your tummy. So you understand? A lot of people are becoming so smart that they want to even make you feel that you don't know what you're saying. Excessive alcohol intake has been questioned as one of those causes. Why? If you notice, when people are drinking, they urinate frequently. You are causing pressure to the bladder. You are causing pressure to the kidney. You are giving the kidney more work than it should do. That's the problem. And alcohol is a substance of abuse. Why? Because one causes another, you want to continue. Because of the substance in the alcohol that tends to blockade the need for hunger. It's a very dangerous aspect that people have not looked at. Family history. So there's some people that have some family history of kidney ailments that should watch it. Once the parents have that, they have to really be careful. But there's one I'm looking at here. I don't know why I put it at the last. I should be the first, but it's good it's the last. Dehydration. The easiest way to keep your kidney healthy is drinking water. I don't know how many people have taken water this morning. The standard is you should take at least 3 liters of water every day. But I see people carry one small container that's not as big as this, and they hold it in their hand and be dangling. That's not even up to 50 cl. 3 liters. And let them tell you something you don't know. Anytime you feel thirsty, you are dehydrated. Don't wait to be thirsty. If that's all you learn today, please, don't wait to be thirsty. Let it be a habit. Water is always by your side. 3 liters is the minimum, is the standard, but you can do more than that. You wake up, you take water. Let water be food to you. It keeps you going. And then, when things come into Nigeria, it becomes a vogue. People now start carrying some fancy plastic things up and down. They will carry it and go to work and come back with it the same way. We're very good at, things that are raining. Next slide. So, what are the steps to keep the kidney healthy? I'm saying my time is flying. Eat balanced diet. Balanced diet does not mean eating all the shawarma available. Every single thing that... In fact, while I was growing up, I used to follow my dad to the mechanic shop to repair vehicles then. And you just see these mechanics. They'll just buy bread and buy akara or moi moi and water. My father said, there's nothing more balanced than this. He just, I'm just being as plain as it is. We don't need to think that balanced diet is all that should be in a meal before you get it. Get the basic nutrients in the food. Get the basic food materials, and you get what you call balanced diets. Get enough exercise, at least 30 minutes a day. It's not gym. Like I said, Nigerians too have, trivialized everything. Everybody is gymming. Everybody is going to gym. I don't know what they go for, but they go to gym. Yes. I saw one of my colleagues. I saw her status yesterday on WhatsApp. She was lifting weights. And I said, is this one gymming or weightlifting? So exercise is important. But what is exercise in the real sense? Just making your body free. Taking a walk is exercise. You must not go to gym. You must not run. In fact, we even to warn people in the elderly, please don't run so that you don't pack up the hat. Walk. Looking around the scenery is important. You can do that. It's a good exercise. We've talked about drinking enough water. Supplement. Be careful when taking supplements. Not all dietary supplements and vitamins are beneficial. Please, there is this set of people that go around with a computer. I will say it here. They go around with a computer, and that computer measures everything in the body. I have received complaints from friends many times. I did a test, and they said, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. They list everything and send. I will look at it, I will laugh. They have come again. The parameters they are giving you are nothing to compare with medical science. They use one computer, and they will find out just plug the computer to your body, they find out everything wrong with you. And the next thing, they will sell supplements. Be very careful. They are here. They are here in Abuja. They are here in Abuja. I've heard many complaints. Those things they are selling, those things they are giving you are not medically approved. Be very careful. They are going to your kidneys. Salt. Let us limit salt intake. We've talked about this. As much as possible, I don't use salt to cook in my house. Why? Because there is all these other ingredients, the Maggi, and the rest. Those things contain salt already. So if I'm going to use those ones, why will I say add salt again? Huh? Okay, let me forgive everybody that uses salt to eat. What are the ones that add salt to the one that I've already cooked? Are you seeing that? So our problem, the more you are adding the salt, the more you are drawing water to your system, and the more you are giving pressure to the kidney. The kidney cannot talk, it will only react. We've talked about alcohol. I can't talk more about that. Next one. Let me talk about this first. Sleep and stress control. Sleep and stress control. See, there's nothing spiritual about not sleeping. There's nothing spiritual about not sleeping. Oh, I have to stay awake tonight. The body repairs itself. Listen to this very clearly. The body repairs itself around 2 a.m. every day. Repair. The body repairs itself around 2 a.m. every day. Why am I saying this? Every single time you are walking around and doing things, your body is wearing out. You are causing stress to your system. Some things are dying, some are coming up. But whenever you lie down to sleep, it is time for maintenance. That is when the manufacturer has timed the body to be repaired. Let's take our mind back to repairing of the road. How do you feel when the construction company is repairing the road when you are going to work in the morning? Very chaotic. Very chaotic. The VIO will now clear one road. Everybody will be jamming themselves because they are repairing the road in the daytime. But if you go to sleep, you have closed your work, and they begin to repair the road, even the construction company and yourself will have no complaint because there's nobody disturbing their work. The body repairs itself in the night. Try to sleep. There's no spirituality to this one. No. Try to sleep. It will help you to repair your body. How do you know you are not getting enough sleep? When it's time for you to wake up, you keep on postponing your alarm. Postponing your alarm. Postponing your alarm till you go late to work. You are not sleeping well. Me, I give my own example, practical. I'm sure that's why some people are laughing. Try to sleep. Why? Because it helps you to recover your body. If possible, get as much as 7 hours sleep. Hey, can that happen in Lagos? Even in Abuja, now Abuja is turning to Lagos because of people come back late. But try to sleep. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to emphasize that. Remember what I said. The body prepares itself mostly around 2 a.m. So, that's why some people, when they travel, because of what we call the pineal gland, that you agree with me, when you travel outside and come back, their own time zone is 6 hours ahead or below. When you leave Nigeria and go to that place, when people are sleeping, you'll be awake because the time is still telling you, oh, it is still night. Right? When you come back to Nigeria and you have to adjust again to their own time, they call it jet lag, right? Because your brain is still telling you that it is still daytime there when people are sleeping. So, God has put that in our body to control us. We have our own biological clock. We have our own timer in the system. And that timer is what shuts you down when it's time to sleep. It's not by chance. And that timer wakes you up again in the morning. You don't need even an alarm to wake up. I bet you, let me tell you something you don't know. Those of you that use alarm to wake up, most times you wake up a few minutes before the alarm rings. Anybody? Any witness? Because it's already there. God has already put it there. Most times you just wake up, you see that the alarm is about to ring. It's already there. So obey your body, listen to your body. It's telling you something at any point in time. Over-the-counter medication, we talked about it. Screening. Anyone with high blood pressure or diabetes should consider regular kidney screening to help spot any possible health issues. As much as possible, every year, try to do kidney function tests. It's not really expensive. It will help you to know where your serum level for electrolytes, your creatinine, and your urea is. Creatinine and urea, most important for us to know. Once there's any derangement, you begin to watch it. Every single kidney ailment must not end in chronic disease. No. It can be handled. You might just need you to just change your lifestyle. Just abide by one or two of these. And then stop buying drugs over the counter just because you can. Let a medical person always advise you. Just a free one to the ladies. Free one to the ladies that always think infection, because they are causing problem for us to treat people with antibiotics. I am saying ladies, why? Because, thank you, mommy, for that. And this question you asked now is going to help them with an answer. There is nothing like toilet infection. There is nothing like toilet. It does not exist. That I use a toilet that is dirty and the bacteria jumped up. It's not true. So, yes, there is nothing like that. That is the commonest reason for purchase of antibiotics by young girls. Every single thing happening in your genital area is calculated by God. The bacteria there are all calculated in number. What is happening is when you go there, you use a toilet that you feel that is not neat, you come back, you start washing off. You are reducing the particular number of some microorganisms that are there. And when you reduce their number, the other ones will increase. And then you start seeing discharge. Nothing like toilet infection. Take it anywhere. Because the issue we have with toilet infection is the same issue we have with malaria and typhoid. It's the same issue. I bet you none of you have seen anybody with typhoid before. The sight is very bad. Our problem in Nigeria is malaria. If you see someone with typhoid, it's a very critical situation. There must be terrible rashes. In some cases, perforation of the intestine. I have operated on one. Perforation. And all of you are looking good. Typhoid is a disease of the low socioeconomic class. People living in the slum and ghetto. Do you know how you get typhoid? By drinking infected water. I go to this side and defecate inside. The water flows to this side. Me, I'll carry it and drink. Is that the water you drink? So where's typhoid coming from? Two things. No toilet infection. The other one, typhoid is not your problem. Because the patients come to hospital with the diagnosis in their pocket. What is your problem? I have malaria and typhoid. They come with diagnoses in their pockets. So we now begin to struggle to know how to attend to them since you already know what's wrong with you. What am I saying? Please, over-the-counter medications. That is why in saner climes, in the Western community, you cannot just go to a pharmacy and purchase drug. You cannot. You must get it from a medical doctor. You must get it from your health practitioner. It has helped to give them longevity. But ours, just because you can, you buy it. Diabetes and health disease, we've talked about this. Any day I have time to come, I might expand more on hypertension because it's our issue. It's increasing. But most importantly, I think we have a lot we can do to prevent those scary statistics that we've seen, those scary figures we saw of number of people that are coming down with various ailments. Next one. So, let's protect our kidneys today. What do we have to do? We need to be proactive and not reactive. Let's prevent it before it comes. It has a lot we can do. And for those of you that have said, what is this man saying? Please, Google is your friend. If you go back, check for toilet infection and check for malaria and typhoid. So that you don't think that this man is just talking. We are talking from the experience we are saying. Raise awareness in your community. You can go back and tell them what you've been told. Why I try to bring some of those things? Because some of those abuses of medications have made treatment of ailments difficult. It has made treatment of ailment difficult. So that when you want to treat someone, it's difficult. In fact, there's a particular brand of malaria, I don't want to mention malaria medication, that if you take it, it will not even work again. There's a particular brand. People have abused it so much that even the mosquitoes are building resistance against it. It will build resistance. Yes. When you take it, you say, now this one, they work. That's true. Haven't you heard somebody say, but I treated malaria last week? Haven't you heard somebody say that? I just treated malaria last week. Wisdom is profitable to direct. That's what I see. So we have to advocate for good kidney care. Most importantly, regular screening saves. We cannot see what's happening in our body until we screen. And it's written there in 3 John. If you have made all the statements that was made in that 3 John, and they try to summarize and say, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. It means that if your health is not there, okay, where is the soul going to prosper from when you are not even in a healthy body? So I wish above all things, and I'm saying it to you also today, that I wish above all things that you all prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Thank you very much.